Our mobile teams do a lot. We are the first glimpse of hope that they see. More times than not, we are the first touch to someone who might be homeless. And we just kind of meet people where they are out there.
You get to meet these people and look them in the eye, and you just realize that they're just like everybody else.
Their mental health is just taking a major toll. And then you add the heat on that, the not being able to sleep, their tent or their camp, that's their home. And then to not have that, really takes a toll on their body and mind.
We do see a lot of dysfunction. We see a lot of pain, hurt, broken people.
I think it's important that the stigma behind homelessness is addressed. Oftentimes, especially now, it's someone's grandma, someone's grandpa, someone's handicapped little brother whose caregiver passed away. It's a pregnant woman. It's people just like me and you that were one paycheck away.
I'm often asked, why do you do what you do? Or how do you do what you do? We really need more people thinking, why wouldn't I? That's my neighbor.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Lewis with Imagine. Welcome to this week's episode of Straight Talk No BS with Matthew's Hope, presented by Imagine Marketing. At Imagine Marketing, we put in extra effort to craft a tailored strategy for success. We also offer photography, videography, and even podcast production services. This episode is produced, filmed, and edited by John Burkett with Imagine. In this week's episode, we are going to discuss the critical role played by Matthew's Hope mobile teams. And for that, I'm going to step aside and turn the conversation over to Pastor Scott, who is the founder and CEO of Matthew's Hope. Scott will be joined by Sharlene Dewitz, who is the director of the Brevard Campus for Matthew's Hope, as well as Shannon Diaz, who is a former guest of Matthew's Hope, who now serves the Orange County director for Matthew's Hope. Scott, take it away.
Thanks, Tracy. So this is kind of a unique situation to where I'm able to sit down with both of you. I mean, for full disclosure, Sharlene is also my better half. And there's all kinds of stories that go with that. But she is our director in Brevard County, as Tracy mentioned. And Shannon has gone through our program and is a director as well over in Orange County. And so to have the two of you together is kind of a new thing we wanted to try. Usually I'm not the guy trying to carry on the conversation. And most of this I know, but I want people to hear from you two on what you're seeing. And one of the first things I'll ask, and I'll let you both answer, and it really doesn't matter who starts, but I'll start with you, Sharlene, is just what exactly do our mobile teams do?
Our mobile teams do a lot. I believe that more times than not, we are the first touch to someone who might be homeless in a camp and out on the road. And I also think that we might be that first touch for them and hope that they've seen in a long time. When we go out, we bring, sandwiches, we bring hygiene items, some clothing, and just personal interaction.
And one thing I'll add is with our mobile teams, what it also does is it allows us to, again, find new people, but it's also set up for those that cannot, will not, or should not come in. And just a brief explanation of that is that could be someone who is a sexual offender. We do a background check on every single guest that comes through our doors. If we identify them as an offender, we can no longer serve them inside, but we will serve. They're human beings, right? And so we're going to serve them in the field. But it's also for those that maybe their anxiety level is such that if they came into our outreach center along with another 100 and 250 homeless people, they're probably not going to have a very good day, and neither are we.
Yeah.
And or it could be that soldier, that veteran who suffers from PTSD. And again, this kind of environment might be a little too much for him. And lastly, for those folks that it just takes time to build trust with. One thing we hear all the time is, oh, you came back, you showed up. Because a lot of people out there trying to do good often do more damage than good, but they go out there and they don't return. And so the trust level is it's gone, and we have to build that up over time. Shannon, what would you add anything to that? What Sharlene said?
I think Sharlene hit the nail on the head. We are the first glimpse of hope that they see. And it changes all throughout the year. Like right now, we're taking out coolers and giving out cold water when we go out.
Right.
For the cannot, will not, or should not come in, we do special orders.
Right.
And we just kind of meet people where they are out there. And every case is different.
So, Charlene, how many? I'll start with you. How many people are you seeing out there a day when you go out there, and
We're
what's taking place?
we're probably seeing anywhere between 60 and 100 people every Monday and Wednesday when we go out mobile.
And that's just mobile.
That's just mobile.
And if I recall right, there's a couple times we've actually gone over 100.
We have.
Yeah. And one of the toughest things right now we're seeing is because of the new law 1365, people are moving in constant motion. So where we used to easily be able to find them, often we have to go on the hunt. What are you seeing over in Orange County?
We see roughly about 60 people every Monday and Wednesday when we go out.
What do you guys think the importance of our mobile team is from your perspective? I mean, I designed the thing. I know but what do you see? What do you think?
I think relationships and trust. The fact that they say you've come back, I think that means a really great deal. Even for the person who can't come into outreach for whatever reason, it's still someone else treating them like a human being
With dignity.
with dignity. Yeah.
And dignity is a big word around here. We talked about that in probably every podcast, is that it really is the cornerstone of treating people the way we want to be treated, meeting them where they're at, loving unconditionally. Those are so many important things. I know face-wise how many we're seeing outreach coming in, new folks. What are you all seeing out there in the field, Shannon? What are you seeing as far as new faces as you go out?
So I had this cool experience yesterday. This guy came in and we did a new intake, and he's watching me on showers. I didn't really think anything of it. And then he comes up to me and he said, I met you a year ago on mobile. I was badly addicted and riding my bike, and you stopped me and you told me about your journey. And I want you to know I'm sober and I'm in a sober living house. And I
How
came
cool is
here
that?
just to see you, to let you know that I'm good now.
And
So
That's good. And
Yeah.
you and I both know as addicts, when we feel we've impacted somebody with just a brief moment of sharing the truth in our own stories and realizing that we're just people and stuff happened.
yeah.
I mean, it'd take too long. We'd be in a 3-hour episode if we get into all the reasons those things happened. But when we're able to see our guest out there and watch them drop their shoulders, and it's like, oh, you get me. And few people, and the challenge here is, though Sharlene hasn't been through addiction, she has also been around addiction, having an alcoholic father, having an alcoholic ex-husband. She's learned that, but also few people are built with her level of empathy. So though she doesn't have the background you and I have, she's got something a lot of people don't even know how to tap into.
Charlene taught me how to do mobile.
Well, thank God that you didn't teach her how to do addicts. Okay. So, I mean, that's a plus. Thank you for that. Okay.
There's still time.
Yeah. Well, so we've talked about new faces. We're talking about going out there and who we're seeing out there. But tell me if both of you could share with a little bit what goes into preparing for those days to go out. And then also, what is happening when you go? What are we taking? We know we're going out there. But what do we go out there? Yes, we're sharing stories. We're praying with people often, different things happening. But what else is going on out there? Just so that our audience gets a clear understanding. When we say a mobile team, what are we taking out to these people?
So I think it's really cool that the community gets involved with bringing sandwiches in. So every Monday and Wednesday, we pack enough snack bags to go out. We get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we have 2 mobile teams going out, and those are vans stocked with clothing and hygiene, like Sharlene mentioned. We go out into the community. We have stops that we go to, so they know to expect us there at the same time. Like you said earlier, you came back. So
Yeah.
we want to
Yeah.
let them know we're coming back to these same stops, and we also let them know where the bus picks up if they want to come in.
You want to add anything to that?
Well, the you come back, you came back. It really has a lot to do with consistency. We had a case where over the winter we were able to bring out hot coffee, and let me tell you, that was like
okay, it's peanut butter jelly time, but you have coffee with it,
Yeah.
and just that our guests that are out there recognize that something like the coffee is a big deal to them, but they recognize that it's a big deal to us that we can bring it out there for them. So anytime, like we were pushing Gatorade this past week, because the electrolytes and how hot it is. So things like that, I think, really make a difference in that we can do that, weekly.
And we're constantly adjusting. I need, it's really important that the general public understands this and how this does not happen without them. There's times where we go through 3 or 4 thousand sandwiches in a single week.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have the budget to do that. We don't have the manpower to do that. But we've had church groups and we've had civic groups do it. We've had clubs do it. We've had families and neighborhoods do it where they've just come together. We just had a church that recently did 840 sandwich. 17 people did 840 meat and cheese sandwiches for us. That's absolutely incredible. But what that means from the other end with the people that we see, the smiles, something in your tummy makes life a lot more bearable. Even if you're an addict and you've destroyed your body to the point where um, you're really not eating that much, you even know that you got to put something in your tummy. And being able to do the coffee, I remember that our chef in Brevard, Jody, went out, and the look on her face, the joy on her face as she was able. Did you have hot chocolate also?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had
Hot chocolate. So they had a choice of hot chocolate or coffee, and it was like this joy fest going on.
Can I add to that? What's really crazy about that too is little things that we take for granted, like the coffee and the hot chocolate. Um, Even right down to the peanut butter and jelly and meat and cheese sandwiches. When I first came out with meat and cheese sandwiches, they went, "We have a choice." And I said, "Well, yeah. Would you like strawberry or
Yeah.
grape, or would you like ham or turkey?"
Yeah.
And it totally blew our guests away out on the road that we were giving them a choice in what they were having for their meal for that day. Because let's face it, especially on Mondays, it could be their meal
Yeah.
that they're getting.
Well, that kind of leads me into where I was going to go next is that what sets us apart from other organizations that kind of go out on occasion. One, you mentioned consistency, but I think the big one there was choice. That, homeless people aren't used to choices.
No.
They take what they can get, and often what they get is often secondhand all the time. And, our attitude is if it's not good enough for us, it's not good enough for them. But when it comes to food, it gets a little trickier. But what's really cool, and I agree, is be able to sit there and go to watch their faces when all of a sudden, like, some of them have a difficult time too. They'll say, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, you pick.
You pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're used to someone handing them a bag that is probably full of stuff, much that either they can't eat because they're allergic to it, or they have health issues that prevent them from eating it, or they just don't like it,
Or it's out of date.
or it's out of date. That's a whole nother story altogether. But yeah, we personally believe that if it's out of date, if I don't go into the store expecting to buy out of date stuff.
Right.
Now, we all know before somebody sends me a note that these things out of date often can still be safe to eat. However, our attitude is if we walked into the store, Publix or otherwise, and said, well, we've got them thinking it was out of date, we're not going to be very happy, and we're going to bring it to the attention of the manager probably, right? And then we're going to think twice about going back there. So when that happens, we either give it to other organizations that are willing to do that, and that's fine for them. And most of the time ends up in our kitchens because then we can prepare meals from that. It's really that simple. Like we get a lot of cream-based soups. Those are terrible. You can't eat those out of a can. You need water or milk with most of that stuff. And then you put a heavyweight uh, cream-based
Curdle.
curd in your stomach. It's 102 degree. Nothing. I love tomato soup made with milk and a good cheese, a grilled cheese sandwich. Love it. When it's 110 to 118, like it has been lately outside, you sit there, not so much. I want something cold. And if I'm going to eat soup, I want something broth based. Okay, so we've talked about the services we're offering. We've talked about meeting people where they're at and all those things. Let's talk about it a little bit so that the folks that are either watching or listening to us right now. Uh, so we drive up in the van. Tell us what happened next and why.
So, like I said earlier, we have this scheduled stop. So they know we're going to be there within 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after the time that we're supposed to be there. We pull up, we have an iPad with us that has Square on it. And that's what we use in outreach to track all the shirts, the hygiene, whatever, as well as the snack bags. We pull them up because they're already in the system from where we registered them, either mobily or like on mobile pre-registration, or when they come in, they're already in our system. So everything that they get is attached to their name. So for whatever reason, if we forget to get a shirt size for whoever and we have to bring it back to them, we can look at their last order and be able to bring their size back to them. So that's pretty cool. So we put all the stuff that they order into Square, the snack bag, the water, the Gatorade, whatever it is. And then we go to the back of the van, and that's where they're able to see what we have back there, pick out, what shirt they want, or, do they want another choice that they have that's pretty cool is, do they want crew socks or ankle socks?
Mhm.
So they get to pick those type of things out too. And that also goes in Square. And it's important to track those items for our inventory and be able to know what we've given out.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's really cool, and it just came up at our recent board meeting, is we had our CPA and we had our uh, uh, independent auditor there to present the report to our board. And one of the coolest things that happened there and was the fact that not only did we get the highest rating you can possibly get, but they pointed out some facts why. And one it was that we had such a strong, strict uh, tracking mechanism in place of our inventories, how it was identified. When you're putting that in, the backside of that is tying a value to that thing that you gave. And so at the end of the day, we can actually tell people exactly what a day costs to go out there. And we could track it everything from the clientele we met to what they got to the fact that we took a van out there, the whole 9 yards. So at the end of the day, we have a solid, we can almost tell you to the penny exactly what that day cost, which is just a side note for people to know because, if you're investing, I look at this, I don't look at people as donors, I look at them as investors. An investor should expect a return on their investment. Clearly, they're not going to get money back from us, but what they can see is success stories and the things the two of you see with your teams every day. I miss going mobile so much, and Charlene's always trying to get me to go. Truth is, I don't have the time anymore. You got to keep the doors open and raise money and do all the other stuff. But the truth is when you sit out there and you get to meet these people and look them in the eye, and you just realize that they're just like everybody else. Everybody else. So I'm curious if you can also, one of you share with me that, uh, you mentioned a story, or I think you mentioned a story earlier. Think of another time when you've been out there, or you did, I guess, Shannon, and I apologize, but somebody you met out there and the comment they made with you, I'll have each of you answer this, what they said to you that just kind of struck you and realized that you were in the right place at the right time. Do you think of I mean, I know there's lots of stories, but think of a couple particular times when you just knew based on, I mean, one of it, the big one I always say is you heard me, you came back, you saw me.
I think one of them was we had gone out to one of the camps and the person knew that we were coming. We come out on Monday and Wednesdays, and she was not at her camp. And we're walking up, and her cart was there, and on a cardboard box, there was a note that actually said, "Matthew's Hope, I'm so sorry to have missed you today," like that. And you're like, how cool is that? She knew we were coming,
Yeah.
and she knew she was going to miss us. And all the time, I've never had a note left for me, that kind of thing. But I just thought that it was really, really cool that, that she knew enough, and the mutual caring, she cared enough about us coming in there and leaving the note for us. And we're carrying enough to go. So I think it was very, very cool that happened. I did have a case the other day in-house, in outreach, that he's one of our guys from the street, but he was in-house. And this gentleman is older and he uses a walker. And he was pointing at me. And I thought he was just joking with me, pointing at me. And I went about my business. I came back and he goes like this. I says, "Oh, I thought you were just, pointing at me." I said, "Did you need something?" And he said, "I just wanted to tell you thank you."
Hmm.
And that's all he wanted to say. And this gentleman's in his 80s. So it was.
I think what we're best at when it gets right down to it is relationships. We build relationships with these people. I know my girl well enough that she almost got teary-eyed right then.
I did. I did.
You got to live with this. I mean, it's crazy, but it's a crazy good too. It's you get to care about these people, and I think the hardest part about it is we do see a lot of dysfunction. We see a lot of pain, hurt, broken people. Some of them we can't fix. We don't have the resources, the ability to do so. However, when they say, "I just wanted to say thank you. I just want to say hello. I left a note. She cared enough. She knew you were coming." And almost like, "I didn't mean to be disrespectful, but I'm not here today." So that kind of thing is really cool. Now, I want to jump to an area that everybody has heard me talk about, and I want to hear both of yours uh, thoughts on state statute, my favorite, 1365, what you are seeing happening individually and collectively because of this new law that basically has made it illegal to sleep outside. Uh, and either one of you can start.
So what we're seeing, especially on mobile, is uh, camps just being deserted. Not necessarily was all their stuff gone, but they're gone. Like they just got out of there in a hurry.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of people on the move, so it's harder to find them, which makes the set stops a little trickier because they're getting displaced more so than usual. So it makes it harder, and also their mental health is just taking a major toll. And then you add the heat on that, the not being able to sleep, the scared to sleep, their tent or their camp, that's their home. And
Yeah.
then to not have that, um, really takes a toll on their body and mind.
And to add what Shannon's talking about, I have a younger couple, probably in their late 20s, early 30s, that have been moved 4 or 5 times in like 2 months.
Yeah.
Literally, they take their tent down and then they find somewhere else, they put it back up. And within weeks, the police are moving them, and they're being moved again. So I couldn't imagine what my mental health would be like if I had to, because, remember, if someone said to me, "You got to get out in 24 hours, grab everything you can." Think about if you're in a house having to do that. These people have to go not only grab what they can, but they literally have to take down their house and move it, and
Often
then
within minutes.
within minutes, and then pop it up again. So mental health wise, this young couple I'm talking about, I couldn't even imagine if they're like on their fourth or fifth time having to break down everything and move. One of the camps out here literally was being forced to move in the pouring rain in the heat. So
Yeah. It can be very inhumane. Um, I realize that a lot of the police officers out there uh, want nothing to do with this,
Right.
but that's their job. There's others that I have seen that honestly, their badge should be taken away because they look like they're actually taking joy in it.
One
It gave them permission to be an asshole.
One thing that we've noticed in Orange County is the guests are kind of taking um, responsibility and giving us their documents to hold on to and being proactive. In the last 2 weeks or a month, I've probably had 5 people give me their stuff to hold on to because who knows if they're going to remember it when they're told you got to go,
Yeah.
So
Well, and sometimes we've seen camps destroyed. I know
Mhm.
people say this doesn't happen. We've seen camps destroyed while they're gone, and suddenly you got a veteran who now has lost his DT 214, which is his lifeline. We can get it again, but it could take us months to do that. They lose their license, the social security card, the birth certificate. Those are all things we help them get, but it can take us months
Sure.
upon months sometimes, depending on what municipality they came from, to get that stuff back. That means now they can get no social services. It means they can't apply for a job. I mean, the list goes on. And so, Amendment 8 is supposed to protect us from this. Unfortunately, the Constitution is something that we're throwing out what we don't like, rather than amending it if that's what we need to do. We just ignore it. And because this is, when you arrest somebody, not only are you damaging their dignity on top of everything else, because a lot of these people haven't done a crime per se, uh, you've now lost stuff. You've lost self value, is what starts to happen as well. And when people do that, that is when addicts slip deeper into addiction. And that's when people that aren't addicted become addicts.
Mhm.
They finally just give up. They're starting to self medicate because they're not getting the hope and care that they need. There's so much misinformation out there when it comes to homelessness. And, you and I've been out there. Not Some of these people are pretty bad people,
Yeah.
no more so than what's in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's a
Just
direct
looks
reflection.
different.
It just looks different. Yeah. That dipshit drives a car and that one lives in a tent. I mean,
Mhm.
but they are who they are. It had nothing to do. Could homelessness possibly make that worse? Yeah, I think that when you're not getting proper nutrition and proper rest and all those other things, if you're an ass, you probably become a bigger one. But I understand how they got. I'm not saying it's okay, but I understand how they got there.
Yeah.
What is something you all have seen out there that you would like our audience to know, that maybe even surprised you, or just something that you've seen in some of our folks that you would like them to hear about? Can you think of it? Anything?
They're not all addicts.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's a big one. But
There's lots of mental health that is going untreated.
there you go. No, listen, that's why we're here. We're trying to, sometimes because I do this all the time, they well, of course Scott's going to say that, right? I want them to see that my team is seeing this every day. We're witnessing it in our outreach centers, our mobile teams. We got 4 mobile teams and possibly more coming. We have 4 buses going out there. Now we're got our sleeper buses coming. We are doing everything we know to do, but it's all of that we do is in response to what we see. It's not like we just sat around and said, "Hey, I think sleeper bus would be cool, right? What are you gonna do with that?" No, the sleeper bus becomes a tool for us to educate, but it also allows us to get people some proper rest, and it allows us to connect them with the other services they need. So we spent a lot of time talking about mobile. Let's broaden that a little bit to our outreach centers and everything else there. Um, I got a couple of questions there, but the first one I want to talk about is maybe someone that's walked into our outreach center or that we've seen in the mobile team just found themselves homeless recently, weren't chronic homeless. Uh, Literally, they were probably living in a house a week ago, or at least in the last couple of months. Anything like that?
So in Orange County, we have a first time mom, our first time homeless mom. She's got a son that's 9. She's been homeless for about 2 months now, and she lost her job due to no childcare. Came here to Florida to be with a friend. Well, the son is too much for the friend, and now they're living in the car. So she came in for services and started working towards being in the program and was able to get into housing last Friday. So,
So you mentioned the program.
Mhm.
I'm assuming because I made this up, the Moving Forward program. Can you share with our folks what that kind of looks like? You yourself have gone through it, graduated from it, then became an employee, worked your way up to now you're a director. Um, Share a little bit, if you can, about that. And I'm sure I want some of that from you too, but if you would do that, what that looks like, the Moving Forward program.
So it's different for everybody. And for this woman's case in particular, she has a lot to iron out just coming from another state. Are we going to be able to help her move forward? Would we be able to make it work? Would she be willing to do what it takes? All of those are things that have to be considered for the moving forward program. Are you willing to work 45 hours a week? Are you willing to go to meetings if that's required, AA meetings or NA meetings? Are you willing to adhere to the rules? It is a very structured program, and the people that come to the program are usually because they're out of plans or out of options, and those are the people who really work best in the program. If you got another plan, you probably have that in the back of your mind and you're probably not willing to do what it takes,
You would never seen that happen.
Never.
Yeah. Look, people are desperate. People do desperate things. To get into housing, a lot of people are willing to do whatever it took to get there. And then once they're there, they think, okay, now I've landed.
Mhm.
And that's kind of really getting in. Getting there is one step, but staying in and taking it to the next level to where we want you to finish up being independent and self-sufficient, that's a whole nother thing. What are some things that you remember that you know is going on now, but things you remember liked or disliked? That's okay too. I'm not gonna. You already work for me. It's okay if you don't like it. Uh, of the program itself.
So when I came to Matthew's Hope, and I remember the day that I got called into the office and was asked, "Do you want to move into a place today?" And I just remember like the shoulders going down, like I've made it, I've arrived, and being able to move into my own place that night. And then little did I know, I thought I worked so hard to get in. The real work had not begun. And, I debated leaving many times. It was not easy. Because it is so structured, because you do always have to be working towards something. It's not just a place to come and crash, which is kind of what I was used to up until that point.
Yeah, yeah.
So to constantly have to be accountable to someone was also very challenging, but I was able to stay. And I'm in a 12-step program myself and was able to talk with my sponsor through those things. And she wisely told me, if that was the answer, you would have already done it when I was talking about leaving and moving in with my in-laws. If that was the answer, you would have already been living there.
Yeah.
Which were wise words, right? And I stuck it through and had so many challenges, like getting hired and fired, all over a felony that I disclosed. And Matthew's Hope was my safety net. And I remember you coming in and hugging me, telling me it was going to be okay. I remember Shelly with her, wisdom telling me that God has a plan. Did I want to hear it? No. Do I understand it now? Definitely.
You ever cuss my name in your pillow?
I won't disclose that.
It's okay. I do
So,
now and then.
Charlene, you probably know me better than anybody on the planet. You know my expectations and how high they are all the time. Not just, my expectations are high in everything I do or what happens around me. Um, Things about the program that even you coming in from an advocate standpoint into moving into a role of management, what have you, uh, things that even you might have questioned or took you some time to understand, why is he like this? Why does he expect this? Anything that you can think of along those lines?
Explain more. I don't understand.
Well, I'm saying as far as the program itself, I know there's times where you have gotten frustrated with me because I'm like, well, is that what we do in this program?
right.
Um, can you think of anything off the top of your head? If you can't, that's fine. But anything off the top of your head that you kind of go, yeah, I didn't get this, but once I saw it in motion, it made sense.
Oh, all the time. I think that even in the director positions, we're always learning, and not only learning, but again,
we talk about that we have relationships, and that everyone who walks through these doors is an individual and different. So one thing might be good for this person, but might not be good for this person. So I just think if I question something, it might be more or less because I'm dealing with a certain individual for them.
Fair.
Right.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Because I went through the program and then I did go through advocacy and now I am the director. There are lots of things that I think about from when I was in the program that I'm like, this makes no sense.
Mhm.
Like the being accountable, having to always be working towards something, bettering myself, and never being able to have time that wasn't really accounted for, working on Saturdays, not having idle time. All of those were things that I questioned when I was in the program. But being able to see from different viewpoints now, it makes sense
Yeah.
being on the other side of it. And I understand and I've seen where it can go wrong, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sadly so. I want the audience to understand that though we see some amazing victories, we see I always call it I compare it to the little train that could. But in this particular case, the train gets clear up to the top of the hill, gets all the way up there, and just starts to go over the top and then slides back and often slides back further than where it started. And we don't take that lightly. I mean, there's nights, even just the other night, I went home and got in bed and I started crying. And she says, "Well, what's wrong, babe?" And I said, "You know what? I'm just tired." And I said, "I'm just tired of sometimes fighting the fight and seeing what I'm seeing. And then worse yet, being judged daily myself on leading this place by people that just are talking out of ignorance. They just don't know. And I don't expect them to know. But before you are so harsh to judge, ask them questions, figure out what's going on before you go onto Facebook or Google, whatever it is, and give me a 1 star and tell everybody how awful we are. Have you ever been here? I had a woman take issue the other day because she just doesn't see a lot of activity out front. And we have all this space. And I want to say, have you considered coming inside? Because we don't let a lot of activity happen outside on our property. We want to be a good neighbor. This is not a flop place. You just don't flop in the yard and someone brings you something to drink. So one of the things that happens, we're all driving logoed vehicles, whether it's what we're in every day, that we've got the buses, we got our mobile teams, we have our medical vans out there. I mean, I think we have some like 18 different logoed vehicles out there. I know sometimes I do get the one finger wave in that, but more times than not, what I have found is people have waved to me. And I've pulled over sometimes, introduced myself because I'm so thrilled that, they didn't yell an obscenity to me and raise their finger to me. Right. But what is y'all, when when you get out there, have you seen anything like that or?
So I had a case one morning. We were going out mobile, and it was still dark out. So it was maybe like 6:15 in the morning, and we were passing a accountant's office, and I'm not quite sure what the accountant was doing there so early in the morning, but he was walking out, and he saw us, and he like literally started yelling. And he was waving, and he was like, "Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for what you do." And at 6:15 in the morning, that was pretty cool, to have someone do that.
Well, what's now I actually know where this took place in Cocoa Village,
It did.
where we have a couple busybodies in Cocoa Village who like to do nothing but stir the pot.
Hmm.
And most of the folks really appreciate us being here. They see things most of us have never seen, nor, not say it never happens. Bad things happen sometimes. Okay. But as a general statement, we're the second coming of Satan. And so to watch what happens in that particular area is very interesting. When Charlene shared this with me, and I've had the same experience where people did nothing but wave me down to say thank you in the very same place that just two people, the two very loudest people in Cocoa Village, make a lot of noise. They mostly just make noise. They're like a gnat at this point. We don't pay attention. that won't take the effort to come over here. I mean, we're literally today where we're at today, and we're in in Trinity Oaks, which is our venue here of Matthew's Hope. Uh, we're walking distance. They could easily come and tour and find out what the truth is, but they would rather stir the pot and create issues that aren't there, where the bulk of the people have done exactly what you've talked about.
Can I add to that? When when you're out mobile and you're doing this for a while, um, our teams see a lot. Okay, I'm not just talking me; I'm talking my team. And to have someone yell that to them, that we're welcome there, and it why you're out there doing it, but sure is nice when you hear somebody who's not involved with it say good job. you know I have a great team, I have a dedicated team, but I also know that every once in a while you have to take a deep breath and just have somebody say thanks for being here.
Mhm.
I want to touch. I know we're closing in on our time here, but I do want to touch on a couple of things too that a lot of times aren't talked about that you personally have come up on. The fact that we have come up, our teams have come up on someone who had recently OD'd that were too far gone, they couldn't be saved. You've Narcan people. You have arrived when the ambulances have arrived. If you can, I know it's sensitive and it's sometimes hard to talk about, but can you share a little bit about that?
I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm really mad. One of my girls who OD'd out here, what really makes me nuts is that her mom actually came and got her, took her over to the other side of the state and tried to have an ex parte done, and the judge denied it. And she wound up back over here, and then she died.
Now, here's what's interesting about this particular, you talking about Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that though Michelle did do drugs, she died from a hot shot.
Hmm.
She didn't have needles. The coroner, she did not have needles marks on her body. She died from a hot shot. And we're pretty sure we know who murdered her. The reality of it is she is just one more dead
Junk.
addict, junkie, homeless person, and it won't even be investigated. And if you learn more about Michelle's story, and it's actually one of our issues of Moving Forward magazine, you can find it online. This was a beautiful girl with dreams and hopes, and something went sideways. And life does that to you sometimes. And the other thing we're seeing a lot here that I don't see as much in Orange County is we're seeing a lot of human trafficking, a lot, especially with females being trafficked around here. And the odd thing is, we know who it is that's trafficking them, and I'm not really sure why county law enforcement isn't or can't do anything about it, because we know right where it's at. We see it every day. We know who it is, and we're trying to figure out what exactly, how many dead bodies have to stack up before you finally say this is enough.
I have one girl who comes in. She's been coming in for a while, and I can remember the day. It's been well over a year that she said to me. She says, "Do you know I'm a prostitute?" And I looked at her and I said, "But you're Lori when you come here." Fast forward to over a year, she's still being pushed around and sold out there. And she was in just the other day, and she said something, and she was sort of kind of scuffling to get out of here. And I stopped her and I looked at her and I said, "You remember what I said to you when you came the first time?" I said, "You're Lori when you come here. Come to this outreach, leave the world behind, even if it's for an hour or two. Just let your shoulders know you're in a safe place. We're not going to let anything happen to you here. You're Lori.
Mm.
You're not what's out there." So
Shannon, as we get ready to close here, is there anything, I don't care what it is, anything that you would like our audience to know uh, about Matthew's Hope, something you've seen, concern you have, anything that you would like to share before we shut down?
I think it's important that the stigma behind homelessness is addressed. When people think of someone who's homeless, and we're all guilty of it, you think of the person under the bridge with the brown paper bag, but and it very well may be that sometimes, but oftentimes, especially now, it's someone's grandma, someone's grandpa, someone's handicapped little brother whose caregiver passed away. It's a pregnant woman. It's it's people just like me and you that were one paycheck away. And I think that people forget that, or they don't view it that way, and it's really hard to get people to change their perspective on it. So I just want to encourage people to come in for a tour, come check us out, come see what it's about.
Thanks for sharing it because it's true. The face of homelessness has changed rapidly over the last 15 years since we opened Matthews Hope. The first year I think 10% were women. Now it's 35%. We rarely saw children. Now that's 11%. We certainly didn't see grandparents that had no history of homelessness, addiction, or anything else. And that's become our fastest growing and largest current um, demographic that we're seeing. And the general public thinks it's the guy on the corner.
Yep.
And two things I'll tell you about the guy on the corner. And I know you got something to say there, but the two things: the guy on the corner, sometimes they're running a scam. Know this also, sometimes they're being trafficked also. They aren't taking that money. Okay. And unfortunately, we have a criminal element here in Cocoa and some other places that we actually know who the people are that are doing it. And all I would do is encourage law enforcement to let's get it done. There's no reason to sit there and pull up on another dead girl who, yeah, she may or may not have been an addict, but she didn't die. She wasn't overdosed. She was murdered. And there's a big difference there. Yeah, were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to piggyback on Shannon, what she's talking about. I think sometimes we forget that we're human beings. Human beings. If we were all alike, wouldn't this be such a dull world to live in,
Can
right?
you imagine more one than me?
So you know, it's understanding that everyone's different. Not everyone's rich, not everyone's poor, not everyone's middle class, so we have to learn really to embrace um, what's out there. It might not be your norm, but that doesn't mean that you turn your back from it. I'm often asked, um, why do you do what you do? Or how do you do what you do? And I still laugh at it because there's not thinking of doing it. I guess my question back to the person is more, why wouldn't I?
Right. I agree.
And I think really, not pat my own back, but we really need more people thinking, why wouldn't I? That's my neighbor.
Yeah. It's kind of like when some people say, let's just talk about the really before we close here is those that we talk about that they go, well, they made their bed, let them sleep in it. Or they go on, well, they did this, they did that. And my answer all the time is, and what's your point? When did you decide when they were no longer a child of God? It's always fascinating to me that those who call themselves believers, Christ followers, Christians, there's my air quotation marks, that they somehow have reconciled in their mind that you can be pro life, but if you don't turn out the way we thought you should have, there's nothing wrong with locking you up. And I've even had the word euthanize used in words to me. I had a guy just the other day. He said, if I don't stop my rhetoric, he knows where I live and he will make sure to put a stop to it for me. And you're sitting there going, wow, so what do? I look you people up and I find out how just batshit crazy some of you are. But I look them up and I find out they're elders in their churches, they're deacons, they're Bible teachers, they're hardcore pro-lifers. And I'm sitting there going, how do you reconcile that with your faith? And my question to any of you that are listening that are Christians that don't like what we're saying, I ask the same question. I invite you to come on here. I will give you a platform to help the rest of us understand why it's okay to think the way you're thinking. And truth is, you're not going to call and you're not going to come on. What you will do is go on social media and tell everybody what you think you know. I don't know whose benefit that's for. You're just to me, you're just wasting space and time. But the good news about Matthew's Hope that even you, we're here when you need us. We're not going anywhere, right?
No,
Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Good.
I think we're good.
So, I'm not Tracy, but I'm Scott Ballou, and I just want to thank you for coming along the ride with us. We encourage you to continue to watch us on our social media. Every Monday, we come up with a new episode. Subscribe to our Moving Forward magazine. Follow us on Facebook, either Matthew's Hope Brevard, Matthew's Hope Orange County. We even have, for our Montessori preschool, we have a site for that. So, and in closing, if you ever find you need someplace for a corporate event or for the most amazing wedding place you'll ever want to go to, check us out, Trinity Oaks of Matthew's Hope. You can also find us on Facebook on that. And I will tell you, Courtney will take care of you and give you the wedding of your dreams. We are a very strange place. We have to get creative to be able to do. Strange in the way that we have to get creative in how we survive and how we continue our mission. But the biggest thing is we invite you to come on the journey of a lifetime with us.
Great job, Scott. And thank you, ladies, for joining us. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next episode.